So we know that the bid package you will give out to the subcontractors for your project consists of the plan, the bid sheet, and the scopes of work and specifications. We reviewed the plan and the bid sheet in previous video segments. Now let's talk about the role of the scopes of work and specifications in your new finished basement. There are two main objectives of the scope of work and specifications. One, it defines the work to be done, and two, it gives specific quality requirements for the specific activity that it relates to. In our last video segment on bid sheets, we looked at the trim carpentry activity bid sheet. So in this case, let's take a look at the scope of work and specifications for trim carpentry. Okay, so let's take a look at the top of the scope of work here. Windows cased, yes, those are cased, and then it asks if there's extension jambs on the windows. Yes, they are. There are no drywall returns. It asks if there are locations of crown moldings, and in this case, we're going to use an inverted base molding at the top of the wall. And then locations of chair rail and wainscot, neither of those are in our finished basement space, so we've marked those NA. If we take a look at item 1 on the scopes of work for trim carpentry, we see that the installer is going to inspect all the material prior to installation. We don't want any material to be installed if it's not quality, and sometimes we can't tell that when there's a bundle of material delivered, so we want them to check that first. Okay, item number 2, we want the trim carpenter to let us know right away if he sees any framing issues. Let's say a rough opening for an interior door. If it's the wrong size, we want to get that fixed right away, so we want to know about it. Item number 3 here basically just tells the trim carpenter all the things that he's providing, from tools to shims to glue and nails. All those he's going to provide, we're providing the actual trim material. Okay, the next item number 4, basically tells the trim carpenter everything that's going to be done by him. All the labor that he's providing is going to be for the casings, the window extension jambs, the doorknobs. All of these items will be installed by him. Okay, items 5 through 11 on the scope of work and specifications are basically quality requirements. We're telling the trim carpenter we want the door jambs to be set up off the floor 3/8 of an inch. You know, we don't want any butt joints in the trim. We want all the nails to be recessed. So basically these are quality initiatives that we're spelling out so he'll know what we expect. Item number 12, we go back to defining the work to be done. We want the trim carpenter to clean up at the completion of the activity. Number 13 is another quality initiative telling them how high the base molding needs to be installed off the floor. 14 is just a requirement for keeping all the other finished surfaces clean and protected. 15 is the warranty requirement of 1 year. And then 16 basically just says that the scope of work and specification is part of the overall contract. Now let's go to page 2 of the scope of work and specification for trim carpentry. If you look at number 17, it says no extra charges outside of the contract will be accepted unless agreed in writing and signed by the owner prior to the work being done. This is one of the biggest items on the scope of work. It will save you a ton of money in the long run. You always want to be notified if there's any ever extra charges before the work is going to be done. This is something that we always include in our specifications and contracts, and you should too, because it will come back to bite you if you don't. And then obviously the date and signing of this page is of primary importance. You may want to have them initial the other pages as well. Okay, that does it for our review of the bidding process for your finished basement. Be sure to tune in to our next video in our finished basement series on scheduling.